What's up guys, it's Professor Oak. Welcome to Experience Share. This is going to be the series where each week I'm going to talk about what I've learned about a certain topic, and go ahead and comment down below suggestions for future episodes of Experience Share, and go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, helps out a ton. So each week on Friday we're going to cover a specific topic, could be anything from build making to best talismans in the game, but this week's topic is mag duels. And now what is a mag duel? Let's get into that. So MAG is the abbreviation for Main Academy Gate. Main Academy Gate is a location in Raya Lucaria Academy. It's actually the first location that you'll go to in Raya Lucaria. It's located within Lurinia of the Lakes. It's pretty much the community agreed upon spot for dueling activity. When you go here, you're going to either A, pop a furled finger and pick up a red sign, that's going to get you a dueling opponent, or you're going to put down your red sign and someone's going to pick you up as their dueling opponent. The topics I want to cover in this video are going to be the etiquette that you should follow when dueling at Main Academy Gate, the equipment that any build could use to make dueling here a little bit easier and a little bit more fun, and overall some tips and strategies that you can employ when dueling at Main Academy Gate. And on the first topic, etiquette, as you can see on screen, I believe there are two pretty universal rules for etiquette in dueling. I believe that you should emote or somehow give some sort of signal. Doesn't necessarily have to be an emote. A quick crouch, a jump, a spin in a circle, just to signal to your opponent that you're ready. I also believe that you shouldn't heal during a duel, just based on the principle that whoever the host is going to have twice as many flasks to heal as the opponent, creating sort of an unfair advantage just innately. So I believe no healing. Give a little sign to let everyone know you're ready, and then go at it. I also am one of the people that I don't particularly have a problem with the other person buffing. I know that's kind of a hot issue in the community or whatever, but yeah, I assume if they're gonna buff, I'll just buff also. Every build can have some consumables to buff with, and we'll get into that a little bit later. One buff that I will talk about now is the Crimson Bubble tier. As you can see in the video right now, both me and my opponent are using it. Both of us have popped it already that quickly into the fight. It's nearly a necessity in this game with how high damage is in every aspect. It's going to save you from lots of one-shots and lots of status proc that, most of us might consider bullshit. It's going to save you from that. Highly suggest Crimson Bubble tier. There are a lot of strong tools in Elden Ring. A lot of strong tools that are going to feel very hard to overcome. Now, what I'm going to teach you in this video isn't the perfect, most OP way to shit on every person, but it is going to make competing against these weapons a lot more fun and a lot easier. As you can see in this video, I tend to do okay against some of these setups, but sometimes the odds just aren't going to be in your favor. With that being said, let's get into the equipment that I think that you should be carrying. The first thing I'd suggest is a parrying tool. Every build can have one, and I think every build should have one. There are several options between a fist, claw weapon, dagger, thrusting sword, curved sword, small shield, medium shield. They're going to help you out in situations like twin blades, paired katanas. These setups can be very overwhelming without something like a parrying tool or a shield of some sort. Also, this goes for more than just parrying, but practice. If you've got a friend, ask them to come over to your world and help you practice parrying for a little while. And if you don't, go into some duels without the mindset of winning or losing. Just go in and try to parry some attacks. You'll get better at it as you try it more. The second thing I'd suggest that's universal to every build is prioritizing your talisman slots well. The first few things I'd like to suggest are carrying things like the blue and red feathered branch sword, so when you get low health you do have a chance for that comeback factor. Carrying things like the immunity talismans when you're going against a spear build that has bleed on it or something like that, you'll thank me. And then also there are some that have synergy, so if you're running something like the ritual shield talisman, I would be making sure that you're switching off for the blessed dew talisman. That's something that I really have trouble remembering myself, but highly suggest that. Also, things like the Erdtree Favor 2 and the Crimson Amber Medallion for boosting health are great on every single build in the game. Moving on from that, kind of related to the Bullgoat's Talisman and the Greatjar Talisman, is checking your poise. I think that there is no point in worrying about poise at all unless you have about 55 to 61 or higher. That's the break point for straight swords, and if you're getting staggered by things around the straight sword area or lighter, then your armor's really not doing anything for you. And I like fashion as much as anyone. Fashion is going to be like priority for me, but I always make sure that I'm at least within that breakpoint before I care about what my clothes look like. You know what I mean? So, moving on from that, that was, just a little quick one. 55, 61 points. Also, I'll add that now that patch 1.06 is hit, with light roll buffs, if you are going for a light roll build, totally ignore that. You can have a build with light roll that doesn't require the poise, but the kind of message there is you either don't want to be staggered by small weapons, or you want to have the range and the ability to get in and out of range with the light roll. Moving on from that, I'm gonna briefly suggest having boluses. It should be pretty obvious why. Status builds, they're really overwhelming to deal with. But there's a bolus of every type. Stock up on them any way you can, even if you have to do some duplications. And also, there are, like I was mentioning earlier in the video, consumables for both buffing and offensive consumables. I'm a big fan of Exalted Flesh. I'm a big fan of Fan Daggers. It's a nice way to pop a bubble that someone puts up. There's other things though, like Turtleneck. The crabs, those are really popular. I'll say that the Magic Liver, pretty much like a knockoff Barrier of Gold. Really good. But that's going to be most of my suggestions. I got a few little tips here and there, nothing too big, but that's my suggestions for the universal equipment. The tips and strategies that I'll go into are pretty, I don't want to say that they're vague, but take them how you will. First, I'd say use more than one weapon. That's not very vague, pretty direct there. But you'll see in almost every one of the clips in this video here that when I'm facing a weapon that I think is outclassing my weapon, that I'm having a hard time hitting them, or maybe they aren't getting poise broken by my halberd, I'll switch to something like a thrusting sword. Or I'll even switch to my twin blade that has ice spear on it, so I can have a ranged option. I would say using more than one weapon also helps in learning the game. You'll learn how to counter more than one weapon that way. The second point, a little tip I'll make, is don't panic, and don't panic roll. The more worried you are and the more scared you are of the opponent, the more opportunities you're really creating for the opponent to hit you. Roll catching is pretty much a tried and true method in PvP from Dark Souls 1 forward. It's the way you hit your opponent. Pretty much anyone with a little bit of, knowledge or experience in this game series is going to be waiting for you to roll. Roll seems like a good option, but I promise it's a trick. Roll is far more risky than it seems. Yeah, this game is, this game is basically a fighting game. It comes down to reads and reactions. A big tip is to think about what your opponent is going to do, rather than thinking completely about what you want to do. Of course, you want to be stylish, you want to pull off combos and do things that look cool, but you gotta know what your opponent's doing and where they're going to be able to do that in the first place. Just a couple more things here, guys. Be prepared to lose. That's a big thing too. Losing is an opportunity to learn, but also remember that this is a game, and you're not going to win every single game. Even the best players in the world lose games. It's just a part of, games. So chill out, quit with the hate mail, be a little bit civil, lose with dignity. And the last thing that I'll suggest is to be creative. Not only with your build making, but with the way you play. If you go for the same things over and over, it might work, but you might come across somebody who knows how to counter that same thing. And also, as you'll see in the video right now, there's a man who is basically a human wall. He has a fingerprint shield on his front and on his back. So you'll see that I just kind of go through my inventory looking for something to counter this absurd build. I had to get a little creative. So I would say that that is my biggest tip in this game. Get creative. But aside from that, enjoy the rest of this fight. That's my video. That's our first video in the series experience share. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe. Love ya. Smell you later.